Plus, more pain at the pump after the world's major oil producers meet in Vienna.
And in sports, a community looks beyond the game of football. Newswatch starts right now. Good evening, I'm Madison Moore.
And I'm Silver Barker. Welcome to Newswatch, your source for news impacting southeastern Ohio. Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow announces the launch of his new nonprofit foundation, the Joe Burrow Foundation.
The foundation aims to help families in Ohio and Louisiana who are working to overcome food insecurity and childhood mental health issues. Burrow will serve as the president of the foundation's executive board with his father Jimmy as vice president and mother Robin as treasurer. Business and community leaders from Greater Cincinnati, Athens, and Baton Rouge have also committed to involvement on the board. To learn more or to donate to the Joe Burrow Foundation, visit www.joeburrow.org. Joe Burrow says, quote, "We believe that everyone has a responsibility to do good. We want to make a difference here as well." A Dayton man faces drug charges after investigators seized more than $75,000 worth of substances, including fentanyl, from a Portsmouth home. Cavante Shamar Price is charged with drug possession and trafficking, as well as having a weapon under disability. WSAZ reports investigators searched an apartment in the 1200 unit of 14th Street on Monday and seized 663 grams of suspected heroin and fentanyl, plus 511 grams of crystal methamphetamine. They also found 2 loaded firearms and other evidence of drug trafficking. Price was taken to the Cicito County Jail. More charges are possible after a grand jury considers the evidence. A statewide investigation looking into service issues with Frontier Communications is being called for by the West Virginia Public Service Commission. The Kanawha County Commission filed a complaint in July requesting that the PSC open a general investigation into Frontier service. According to WSAZ, PSC officials filed a petition Thursday recommending they reopen a 2018 investigation concerning Frontier. The recommendation says the staff believes, quote, "Frontier is not currently providing adequate telephone services to its West Virginia customers as is required by the Commission's rules." They're asking Frontier to submit an action plan to address its service deficiencies within 45 days.
Good afternoon, Southeastern Ohio. I'm Newswatch forecaster Jacob Van Cleve. Now, if we take a look at our region right now, we don't have anything going on the radar. The little spots there, that's something we call radar clutter. That's not rain. Clear skies in the area, and you can see that reflect as Athens today you had clear skies with a high of 72 degrees. Now you have a slight breeze of about 3 miles per hour. Expect that to just be calm throughout the night. Now as those temperatures do drop overnight, do expect the chance for fog in the morning to be probable. Now if we take a look at highs over across the region here, Parkersburg you had a high of 72 degrees, Athens high of 75, Lancaster 73, and Huntington 72. Now Athens yourself, temperatures are at 73 degrees now with a low of 44 degrees overnight, mostly sunny skies. Now, Athens, as we take a look at your local radar again, I'm sorry, technical issues on my end here. Other than that, that's all I have for you. First weather, now back to you at the desk, Madison.
Thank you, Jake. Ohioans are in need of a reason to believe in elections again. Ohio's Republican election chief says he is responding to Americans' quote, "crisis of confidence in the U.S. electoral system." A new public integrity unit has been announced to enhance investigative work, including rare cases of voter fraud or voter suppression. Secretary of State Frank LaRose says he eventually wants a dedicated team of investigators to focus on alleged election and voting violations. LaRose says it is another step to boost Ohioans' faith in the election system. An Ohio lawmaker wants veterans to be able to teach without a license. If the bill becomes law, military veterans would be able to teach in Ohio's K-12 classrooms without getting a traditional teacher's license. Senator Frank Hoagland, Mingo Junction, says Senate Bill 361 is a step towards recognizing military instructors' qualifications and training. However, the Cincinnati Enquirer reports that Ohio teachers' unions aren't sure it's the best idea to tackle teacher shortages. And Ohio already participates in a national program called Troops to Teachers, which makes it easier for military vets to become educators.
The Kentucky Council on Post-Secondary Education plans to make it easier for adults wanting to enroll in college. The council released a statewide plan on Monday in an effort to remove barriers that prevent Kentuckians from pursuing a higher education. The state has one of the nation's lowest workforce participation rates. President Aaron Thompson says a big factor in continuing professional education is the skills gap among working-age people. The plan includes a one-stop student information portal with adult learner information, financial assistance, and simpler admissions. It's the beginning of fall wildfire season, and burning restrictions are in place across Kentucky. According to a statement from the state's Energy and Environment Cabinet, outdoor burning is prohibited between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. That's if the fire is within 150 feet of any woodland, bushland, or field of flammable materials. Governor Andy Beshear says it's especially important to be aware of fire safety outdoors due to areas still recovering from floor damage.
If you're thinking about buying a new car soon, think again. And why gas could be getting more expensive too. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
It's one of the most challenging viruses scientists have ever faced.
HIV is very clever.
The virus can mutate where medication stops working.
After decades of innovations,
the science that's developed is remarkable.
can we finally end the epidemic?
That is what I want to see in my lifetime, and I absolutely know I can.
Ending HIV in America
We have the tools to stop it. Let's do it.
on Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
We're losing ground.
On making Black America.
But at the same time, there is this explosion in Black institutional life.
The places
Black women really were at the forefront in entrepreneurship.
and secret spaces
Those queens were dressed to the nines.
that built Black life.
On the page, on the stage, we still make life swing.
Tuesday at 9 on WOUB.
You'll be charmed when Loretta Lynn, the Queen of Country, shares her music and memories.
I looked at the songbook and thought, well, heck, this is easy. So I threw the songbook down and wrote my own songs. She made it okay for women to go, yeah. I just sang.
Look for Loretta Lynn on American Masters.
Friday at 9 on WOUB.
Next time on The War. Fresh troops are tested in North Africa.
Over here, we all know it. The worst is yet to come.
As America redefines freedom.
I'm going into combat with my folks behind barbed wire.
And the skies take their toll.
If you met a guy and bought him a beer, tomorrow he would be gone.
In part 2 of The War.
Thursday at 9 on WOUB.
A federal appeals court is expediting a case over the legality of having a special master oversee the review of federal records seized from Mar-a-Lago. A faster resolution to the Justice Department's appeal could bring closure to the criminal investigation into former President Trump's handling of administration records after his presidency. The DOJ already has access to more than 100 documents marked as classified that the FBI took from Trump's Florida estate. But thousands of other documents are being reviewed by a special master. The DOJ is challenging that process. The appeals court's decision to expedite came a day after Trump turned to the U.S. Supreme Court for intervention in a more narrow legal matter related to the special master review.
President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden toured the destruction left behind Hurricane Ian just 1 week ago. President Biden met with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis as well as local officials, residents, and small business owners from some of the hardest hit areas. Just hours earlier, Biden extended the federal disaster declaration in Florida for another 30 days. Gloria Plasmino is in Fort Myers.
Today, we have one job, and only one job, and that's to make sure the people of Florida get everything that they need to thoroughly recover.
President Biden toured hurricane-ravaged Florida Wednesday, 1 week after Ian carved a deadly path through the state. More than 100 people were killed by Hurricane Ian, and many have lost their homes.
When we walked out, it was like something out of a war zone. It was just devastating.
Biden met with survivors who have lost their homes and businesses and thanked those on the ground helping these devastated communities.
And the search and rescue teams have knocked on nearly 70,000 doors and rescued over 3,800 people.
First Lady Jill Biden joined the president on an aerial tour, getting a first-hand look at just how widespread the damage is. Residents will be able to use the road to Pine Island that was damaged by the storm days ahead of schedule.
Later today, the public will be able to access this bridge and be able to get back.
Earlier Wednesday, Biden extended the federal disaster declaration for Florida, adding another 30 days of aid to help the long road to recovery.
We're not leaving. We're not leaving until this gets done.
In Fort Myers Beach, Florida, I'm Gloria Pasmino reporting.
Gas is one of the biggest needs in Southwest Florida right now. And one company is doing its part to help those in need by bringing the gas pump straight to people's homes for free. Generators are the only way some people can keep their refrigerators and freezers running as they wait for power. But to keep the generators running, they need gas.
Gas for my generators. This is the 4th gas station I've been trying to find that actually has gas.
That's why the company EZ Fill is driving in with gas from Miami and filling people up for free. It's basically Uber, but for gas. Using a smartphone app, customers can order gas to be delivered to them. The company is now essentially playing a part as its first responders. Some elderly residents don't have cans to even get gas for their generators, and those whose homes are okay have been driving around trying to help friends and family.
If you're waiting for a better time to buy a car, you may have to keep waiting for a while. Auto parts shortages are driving average car prices higher and higher. Plus, car companies and dealers have less incentive to take steps to bring down costs because demand is still vastly greater than supply. Also driving up the prices are the Federal Reserve's interest rate hikes, making it more expensive to finance a vehicle. According to Edmunds.com, the average new car loan interest rate hit 5.7% in the 3rd quarter of 2022. The average monthly payment in the 3rd quarter was more than $700 compared to $630 this time last year. Analysts don't expect the car market to return to normal anytime soon. Gas could start getting more expensive again too. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries is planning to slash oil production by 2 million barrels per day starting in November. That's the biggest cut since the start of the pandemic. Wednesday's news came after the group of major oil producers, which includes Saudi Arabia and Russia, met for the first time in person since March 2020. They say the move comes, quote, in light of the uncertainty that surrounds the global economic and oil market outlooks. The White House calls it short-sighted, but the impact of this cut may be limited since many smaller OPEC producers were struggling to meet previous production targets. Still, rising oil prices could mean inflation stays higher for longer, adding to pressure on the Federal Reserve to hike interest rates even more aggressively. Why residents in Stockton, California are on edge. That story.
And with the cold front getting ready to come into our area Friday, what could that mean for your homecoming weekend? More on that when Newswatch returns. In the meantime, check us out on social media at YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram.
We just went back to Africa.
On Finding Your Roots, musician Pharrell Williams.
I have to say I'm forever changed.
And actor-director Casey Lemons.
I feel very proud of my American heritage.
Slavery's impact.
Turn the page.
Impacts its descendants.
It's messing with everything that I represent.
Plus a DNA match.
Ready to meet your cousin? Yes.
Finding Your Roots.
Tuesday at 8 on WOUB.
You'll be charmed when Loretta Lynn, the Queen of Country, shares her music and memories.
I looked at the songbook and thought, well, heck, this is easy. So I threw the songbook down and wrote my own songs. She made it okay for women to go, yeah. I just sang.
Look for Loretta Lynn on American Masters.
Friday at 9 on WOUB.
We're losing ground.
On making Black America.
But at the same time, there is this explosion in Black institutional life.
The places.
Black women really were at the forefront in entrepreneurship.
And secret spaces.
Those queens were dressed to the nines.
That built Black life.
On the page, on the stage, we still make life swing.
Tuesday at 9 on WOUB.
3, 2, 1, start.
TM Landry Prep in rural Louisiana went viral for sending its graduates to the Ivy League. But when the facade crumbles,
all that I care about is winning.
how will its students navigate the myth of meritocracy?
We work our asses off. It's like boot camp.
Accept it on POV.
Monday at 10 on WOUB.
Welcome back, Southeastern Ohio. I'm Newswatch forecaster Jacob Van Cleve. Again, if we take a look at our local radar here, we don't have anything really going on, just that little bit of radar clutter. That doesn't mean anything, doesn't mean any rain, just means clear skies. Now, those clear skies can be seen with Athens today, reaching a high of 73 degrees and a low of 44 degrees. Now, you saw the mostly sunny skies. It was, if anything, mostly clear for the remainder of today. Now, Athens tonight, you can see that temperature is going to drop down to 44 degrees with mostly clear skies. Those beautiful fall-like temperatures are expected to continue, however, get a little bit chillier as we move on later into the week. Now, to start that off with the week here, you can see tomorrow that you have this high pressure system that's roughly in our region itself. Now, that high pressure is going to kind of funnel down south, and that low pressure is going to kind of take its place. Now, with that low pressure system, you're going to expect a little bit of rain and then also a cold front band to come into our region. Now, that cold front band is expected to continue, bring cooler temperatures, and also you'll see that reflect with also rain possibly as well. Now, as a high for Athens tomorrow, you're reaching, or Friday, my apologies, you're reaching about 58 degrees with the low of 44. My apologies. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Now, that's all I really have for full weather at the moment, but back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Jake. Alec Baldwin has finally reached a settlement with the family of cinematographer Helena Hutchins. Last October, Hutchins was killed on set of the film Rust after the prop gun Baldwin was holding unexpectedly fired a live round. Baldwin has maintained he did not pull the trigger. He also filed an arbitration demand against the other producers, claiming it wasn't his responsibility to check the gun for live ammunition. The Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office has been investigating the shooting, though no one has been criminally charged. The filming of Rust will continue in January with the original cast and Hutchins' husband as executive producer under the settlement. The other producers of the film will also be dismissed from the wrongful death suit after its dismissal. Hutchins' husband says he believes this was a tragic accident and is grateful the entertainment community has come together to celebrate Helena's final work.
A possible serial killer in Stockton, California has residents on edge. Police are desperately searching for the person or people responsible for 6 deadly shootings. Chris Gwynn breaks down the case.
In California's Central Valley, a possible serial killer at large.
We do believe we could have potential serial killer.
So far, 7 people have been shot, 6 of the victims killed. The possibly connected shootings began in April 2021, with the most recent killing reported just last month. Police say the victims were alone and in dark areas when they were ambushed. All of them shot in the evening or early morning hours.
The average age of the victim is 42. We find that the sex of the victims are mostly male. We also find that the races are mostly Hispanic as well.
Stockton police releasing this video of a person possibly linked to the investigation, where you see the back of a person dressed in all black. The only surviving victim, a woman, telling police the suspect wore dark clothing and a dark COVID-style mask.
We haven't seen this individual committing a criminal act, but seems to be showing up in some of our recent homicides. So it's a person that we definitely want identified.
Meanwhile, victims' family members are waiting for answers. One of those victims, 54-year-old Lorenzo Lopez. His family desperately wants justice.
My mother and father were just heartbroken from this. You know, that's their first baby boy, and I know they have so many memories of, of him.
And until police catch the killer, they're urging the public to stay alert. I'm Chris Wynn reporting.
None of the victims were robbed or beaten before the killings, and none appeared to have known one another.
Coming up in sports, the community of Waverly has come together in support of one Tiger family. That story and more when Newswatch returns.
October is here. There's no better time for high school football. This Friday, St. Clairsville travels to take on rising stars of the Buckeye 8, the Union local Jets. Washington Courthouse battles Chillicothe, looking to set up an FAC title match with Jackson. And in a game with high stakes for the MSL Buckeye, Bloom Carroll defends their title against Logan Elm. So join us on Friday night at 11:30 p.m. on WOUB. And remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.
Next time on The War. Fresh troops are tested in North Africa.
Over here, we all know it. The worst is yet to come.
As America redefines freedom.
I'm going into combat with my folks behind barbed wire.
And the skies take their toll.
If you met a guy and bought him a beer, tomorrow he would be gone.
In part 2 of The War.
Thursday at 9 on WOUB.
That gun took everything from me.
Gun violence is plaguing this country.
Some guy with an AR-15 just murdered my daughter.
My mom called and said David shot himself.
But what about the trauma that lingers?
I don't go to bed any night that I don't think of her being blown apart.
This is not something that you come out of unchanged.
Ricochet, an American trauma. October 5th at 10, 9 Central.
You'll be charmed when Loretta Lynn, the Queen of Country, shares her music and memories.
I looked at the songbook and thought, well, heck, this is easy. So I threw the songbook down and wrote my own songs. She made it okay for women to go, yeah. I just sang.
Look for Loretta Lynn on American Masters.
Friday at 9 on WOUB.
Welcome back to Newswatch. I'm Jack Demler. The Waverly Tigers football team is not experiencing the season they may have hoped for. However, the community has come together for something bigger than the game. 1, 2, 3, common way to break the huddle among most football teams. But for the Waverly Tigers, that chant means a little more.
We take care of our own because it's like a big work family, and we are family.
Following the junior varsity team's Week 3 game, freshman running back and middle linebacker Blake Osborne was rushed to Adena Hospital.
I was just at halftime feeling really weak and couldn't focus on anything. I sat the second half because I didn't feel right the rest of it.
Doctors discovered that Osborne's brain was displaced 7 millimeters off center and had over 7 millimeters of blood pressing his brain against his skull. Osborne was then rushed to undergo surgery to remove part of his skull to alleviate the pressure.
To see something wrong with especially your kid is a shock in itself, but to go up there and realize that now he has to have brain surgery when just 5 hours before that he was playing a high school football game was a huge shock to the system.
As soon as Osborne underwent surgery, Waverly and the surrounding communities came together to help fund the family. One of the programs was hosted by Cardo's Pizza, which donated 50% of their proceeds and 100% of their tips for a day to the Osborne family. By the end of the night, Cardo's sales exceeded $10,000, all in support of Blake. Despite the adversity such an injury presents, Osborne has made tremendous strides in his recovery.
He's a medical miracle because he shouldn't be walking, talking, possibly not be here. Second impact syndrome, almost a death sentence. And if it's not a death sentence, you're left with some serious disabilities normally.
But unfortunately, Blake was also told he shouldn't play football again, and he agreed.
I had plans on to go to college. I was getting visit offers to go to colleges as a freshman, and then it happened, and I was like, well, I'm gonna have to change just about everything that I was planning on.
Still, for Blake and his family, his recovery, his spirits, and hope for the future, none of it would have been possible without the support of a community brought together by football and family.
That small town's going to take care of you when times get tough, and I mean this is proof of that.
For an extended version of the story, be sure to check out Gridiron Glory on social media. And guys, even though he's not able to play football anymore, he is able to do other activities, which he's truly grateful for, and it's just great to see the community get behind him.
Yes, he seems like a very, very strong teen.
Yeah, I definitely have to second that as well, what she said.
Yes. And now we're going to toss it to Jacob with the final weather.
Welcome back again. Sorry for those technical difficulties earlier, but if we take a look at Athens today, you had a high of 73 degrees with a low of 44 degrees and mostly sunny skies. Now, those 44-degree temperatures are going to drop tonight. It's going to be cooler. You're going to have those little light breeze too with it. Expect those temperatures also to meet that dew point. That's where you'll have moisture in the air, and then that turns into fog. So that fog warning is an issue that will be continued throughout the remainder of the week here, especially tomorrow morning, so just be advised of that. Now, tomorrow morning, once those temperatures do start to warm itself, you'll see that fog start to die off. You'll have the mostly cloudy conditions, and that's due to the low pressure system that'll eventually be moving into our area. We still do have a little bit of high pressure. I'll talk about that more in a second. Now, those temperatures, Athens tomorrow, you have the low of 49 degrees. It's a little bit warmer, but those warmer temperatures aren't expected to stay for too much longer. Now, that high pressure system I was mentioning earlier, that's sitting in our area. That's what's bringing us those nicer, cooler temperatures today and those clear skies. Now, that high pressure eventually is expected to kind of shuffle down south, and you'll see that low pressure itself with the cold front band steadying, making its way into our region. Now, as you see Friday itself, you'll see that high pressure south of us, and you'll see that cold front then eventually move into our area. That's when we're going to expect to see those cooler temperatures actually funnel in. Now, there is a little bit of rain up to the north of us, more in the Cleveland region and the Great Lakes. Now, this is very possible. It's a little too early to tell that we could actually receive some of that in Athens itself. However, do expect with that high pressure to try and push that a little bit more north, and expect clear conditions for your Friday. Now, Friday itself with our 3-day weekend for homecoming here in Athens, Ohio, you'll see Friday with a high of 61 degrees, low of 36. Like I did mention before, expect that cold front to come in and bring those temperatures cooler. You could also see some rain that Friday early in the morning. Now, Saturday itself on homecoming, beautiful game, beautiful day for a great homecoming game with a high of 58 degrees and low of 34. Now Sunday, the day after homecoming game and the parade, you'll see a high of 62 degrees and low of 36. Now those cooler temperatures that you see there for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that again is associated with that cold front that'll be moving into our area. Now the Athens 7-day outlook. As we move on past Sunday, you can see Monday and Tuesday with those warmer highs, not as much, but a little bit with a high 66 and a high 69 on Tuesday. Those temperatures are expected to warm up overnight with a low of 42 Monday and a low of 47 Tuesday. Now there is a chance of another system that's getting ready to move our way into our region Wednesday with a 20% chance of showers. Now that's going to bring temperatures of high of 65, low of 42, or 52, my apologies. Now that's all I have for your final weather. Now back to you guys at the news desk.
And finally tonight, SpaceX and NASA launched a crew of astronauts from across the world on a trip to the International Space Station Wednesday. The rocket and spacecraft lifted off from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. The 4 crew members include 2 NASA astronauts, an astronaut from the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, and a cosmonaut from the Russian Space Agency. She's the first Russian cosmonaut to launch on an American spacecraft in nearly 20 years. And NASA's Nicole Mann is now the first Native American woman to reach orbit. She's also the first woman to serve as commander of a SpaceX flight. The spacecraft is set to dock with the space station Thursday evening, and the mission marks the 6th astronaut launch SpaceX has carried out in partnership with NASA, and it's the company.
Support comes from Dean Heating and Cooling. Stay warm this winter with energy-efficient TempStar heating. Dean Heating and Cooling provides HVAC services and installation in the Athens area, featuring TempStar quality you can feel.